this new podcast media with Laurent and me.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Laurent, and I'm a French software developer. I've been in Singapore for a few years, and I'm working at GovTech currently.
Cool. And it's me. I'm working for Zenix. All right. So, why we gather today is because we're gonna share some of the opinions or the things which has got our attention. Let's say with this week or past 2 weeks, basically, and we try to share with you guys on a podcast kind of format, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What is first on your list, which is you wanna?
Okay, first is a theory about Svelte. You know about Svelte?
Svelte. No idea.
It's a front-end framework. Svelte is having a different approach opposite to, let's say, React and Vue, which are using virtual DOM. Svelte is doing just compilation. There is no virtual DOM. So hence my question, do you think that in the coming year there will be like the rise of no virtual DOM in many libraries?
But what's an idea of Svelte, right? It's
Svelte? Basically, it's just you have JavaScript code. It will just compile your code instead of relying on VDOM to do reconciliation and so on and so forth. So it's just compile the minimum code that is that makes your app working. That's all. So it's just doing whatever your apps need to. There is no virtual DOM, just compilation.
Nice.
So for instance, if you have to mutate a part of the DOM, it will just create the function to mutate that part of the DOM for you.
Cool. But that means if you have this additional stuff as a virtual DOM, that means it will be simple, right? It's like a more simpler framework.
Yep.
Is that a framework or just a library?
Well, I think we can talk about the difference between a framework and a library later, but it's a framework. For the moment, for instance, it's completely pure JavaScript, which is supposed to be only valid JavaScript, but there are some weird syntax, for instance, something about reactivity, when you want to do like reactivity, so for instance, listening for changes and apply some changes. What will happen is you have to use a special syntax with a $, so $: which the author said it's valid JavaScript, but it's still weird to use. In terms of separation, you can see something like Vue, where you have the script, the templates, and the CSS that are separated. So it's really like Vue. You have one file and script template and CSS in one file. But the main difference is just pure JavaScript. Just compile the JavaScript that makes your application work. No VDOM.
Cool.
So smaller footprint and so on.
Do you think it's future, like can be used in 2020?
Svelte?
Yeah.
I think definitely can try to use it. Can use it. Actually, I just did. Just wrote an application 2 days ago about that. So we have something called decentralized renderer. So I built the same application. So previously we had the decentralized renderer that was built in React. So I built the same in Svelte.
Okay.
It was quite simple to use. I didn't face any issue at all. The doc is very good. And to answer your question do I think that it will be trending eventually or something like this?
Yeah.
I think so.
Think so.
Maybe not Svelte, but definitely I think the compilation way will be the trend in maybe that year, next year, something like this.
No, it's pretty good. Good news from you. good insight, actually. Good share. Next one. Really cool stuff, which is I heard. Recently I just switched to the IntelliJ idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you paying for that?
Not yet.
You should.
Yeah, I think so. Really cool. The reason why I'm switching because of the I found it myself that there's sometimes there's a slowness in the text editor, right? We use like VS Code or something like that.
Okay, I can tell.
And I want to see a little bit different alternatives, and there's more functionality, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know you the JetBrains lover.
For 4 years now, yeah. I've
Yeah.
never used the VS Code.
Exactly, but you can try. I mean, like I tried this text editors, and like I found that sometimes they too simple, right? Or sometimes they add in this kind of what is it called? They convenient, right?
I don't know. For instance, I would say like Vim maybe. Actually, for instance, you just take Vim, it can be very, very powerful, much more powerful than
Yep.
the other. But the issue is like you have to make sure about the configuration, which can be a bit hard. Even if there are many people that are sharing their own configuration that you can just import into your environment. But I think that VS Code is not that bad. I mean, every time let's say I help someone that is working, most of the people are using VS Code, and just need to know, what's the shortcut for this, what's the shortcut for that. But in the end, I think the experience is quite good. I never faced that much slowness in VS Code. I would say that there are features in IntelliJ that are much more powerful. For instance, the refactoring, which is very, very nice, especially if you use, let's say, use TypeScript or any typed language. Then there it's very powerful compared to VS Code.
There's one thing which is got my attention, right? There's pretty good this DB support, right? You can actually connect from
that's nice. You can directly connect to any database. You just need to download the driver.
Exactly.
It's just one click.
Yeah, exactly. So everything is built in.
Yep, there are many things.
Yeah, so that's what I like. Basically, if you download just a fresh new version and everything you have it, because of let's say in terms of VS Code, it just text editor. That's it, and you need to somehow configure it.
Yep, and even IntelliJ IDE has good support for web development. You don't even need WebStorm. WebStorm has more feature.
Sure.
But most of the time, it's good enough to just start with IntelliJ IDE.
Because sometimes I have like many this VS Code open windows and it's getting, because it's browser based and it's consumed in memory.
Well,
yeah,
IntelliJ won't be better because after indexation, at least sometimes it's like it's going crazy.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see it. I mean, after the so why the reason I brought this up, right? There's one use from the JetBrains. They actually developed their own font face for the
font ligature. I've seen it.
Yeah, it's called Mona. Really nice looking aesthetics. That the reason why it's brought my attention that this one, this is JetBrains, the guys who are actually developing the tools, right? So they actually care about not only the functionality part, right, but the aesthetics.
Yep, they cared a lot about the size of every chart, make sure that bigger, easier to read. I've seen that. I won't use it because there is ligature and I don't like ligatures. I don't know if there is a way to disable ligature. Maybe there is a way. But
yeah, it is. I think it's controllable.
That's the only reason why I didn't test it directly.
Pretty cool. I think it's really good project itself. For developers, it's like I think something is pretty unique, and there's one reason to appreciate that.
And even in the website, you can have the difference between the previous font and the Mona font, and you can see the difference very well.
Next up would be the there's one article which I found pretty interesting. It's called Enum patterns. Enum patterns.
Enum patterns.
Yeah, okay. I'll share with you.
How do you write it? ENUM.
Yeah. Enum. Here. We actually need to share this all of the together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's a guy called Dr. Axel Rauschmeier.
Yep.
So he wrote an article about the implementation of enum patterns. The thing is, I think he coined out this term here. Okay. Because I never heard of it before.
Never heard as well.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool implementation. So basically, we have, let's say, if you're someone dealing with the TypeScript, they have enums or like other type language, and in JavaScript we don't have it.
Yep. Oh, so the idea is to bring the enum into JavaScript.
Yeah, so the idea is to bring this to the vanilla JavaScript, and he actually showing out this how he implement this pattern, and it's pretty cool to see that. And it's I have given example of TypeScript and tried to make the kind of the same of the implementation, but in pure vanilla. Pretty good stuff. I actually like this kind of articles because of these kind of show the craftsmanship, right, of things, how you can actually do the something by yourself.
He's sharing a lot of good stuff.
Yes. One thing, like once you, let's say, you've been a beginner, like a software engineer, right, or a student, right? Sometimes the professors ask you to implement something.
Yep.
Which is, I think, it's a valuable skill, right, for the programmer.
Yeah. Just need to know the limit between reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. So I mean, like.
But it's often nice to know how it works under the hood.
Exactly.
Like, for instance, for framework or whatever, they use.
Yep. So it's actually give you insights of how the things works, and it's really expanding your knowledge on things.
Okay, if you really want Enum, use a language with Enum. But I think it's a really cool way to. Actually, it's also a cool way to know how to build stuff, even just with JavaScript. Like, can you extend the language and build new stuff? Like, for instance, in that case, Enum, but could be anything else. Eventually, I don't know, pattern matching. Why not?
Yes.
So,
definitely.
That's great.
Is TypeScript worth it?
Okay, I think that can be multiple answer for this. First of all, you need to think about TypeScript like it's not free. If you use TypeScript, you will probably spend more time developing. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say you start a new functionality, one with JavaScript, one with TypeScript, probably the one with TypeScript will take more time. Just because you will fight with types or...
Yeah, definitely.
And you will have some weird error like...
but it's at the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's at the beginning. But then, with time, eventually, you will get used to it. You will be better at TypeScript, and especially in the long term, when you start to have maintenance, refactor, and so on and so forth, then you will start to see the power of TypeScript. So I can see that he's talking about TypeScript does not guarantee any runtime type checking, which is true. But actually he's saying that there are some libraries that are able to do checks at runtime. For instance, there is IOTS that you can use, for instance, to check that what you receive from an API is it's the type you declare. And if that's not the case, it will throw an error. So that makes your code sure. Like, you expect a specific shape of a response. If the response doesn't have that shape, it will throw an error. So, and then in that case, your code will be safe, right? But of course, TypeScript cannot do everything. So for the moment, there is no, let's say we can think about like eventually using TS Node in production. It's actually doable. And in that case, maybe there is more guarantee at runtime. But I don't think it's a reason to skip TypeScript. Using JavaScript is still, to me, there is no reason to not use JavaScript. I personally start every project in TypeScript now, most of the time, unless there is really a good reason, like a lack of support or a specific library not able to handle it. For instance, last time I used, like I said, we are using TestCafe for end-to-end test, and TypeScript support is not very good. So in the end, I just use plain JavaScript to write my test, which is okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay. The vanilla JavaScript is, for now, it's I think in a good shape, right?
Yeah, of course.
And the support from the VS Code or anything like that.
There is JSDoc. Even now there is IntelliJ, stuff like this that is able to help you. There are linters that can eventually raise that kind of error. But of course, linting and TypeScript doing two different jobs, but sometimes the border between what they are doing is really thin. So the real question is, do you want to use TypeScript? If you don't want, just don't use it.
Yep, definitely. Because sometimes you might forget your vanilla JavaScript at one point. I mean, like they're quite similar, right? But once you switch in from TypeScript to the JavaScript, you get used to some features, right? I
think I've seen that many people said that, like, okay, you start TypeScript. Okay, it's not worth. You spend a lot of time. It's really hard to start with. You became crazy because you have to write those types, and sometimes the compiler is throwing weird errors. But actually, after a while, like let's say 6 months, 1 year, it's very hard to go back to JavaScript. because you start to get used, like you change something and you see the compiler complaining about something. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot to change this, and that's very cool.
This so far is working great, right? For my projects, yes.
In TypeScript?
Yeah, TypeScript.
Yeah. Once the setup is done, once people are used to it, everything is fine. It's just sometimes you have really weird cases that you need to handle, and then you really have to go through the very details of TypeScript, how it works, how you can create very specific types. Yeah. But you don't need to do that. I think, in my opinion, the TypeScript is easy until you start playing with generics. When you start playing with generics, then it becomes very messy. Not messy, but it becomes harder to to catch it.
Exactly, because actually it's another basically world, right, from the JavaScript itself. I mean the vanilla JavaScript, and it's like you need to put some effort.
Yep. Of course.
To know this stuff.
But like any language, it was the same with JavaScript before when people were trying to find the difference between classes and prototype, eventually between Java classes, let's say, and JavaScript prototypes. So it's exactly the same thing. When you are using a language, you need to understand how the language works in order to.
But it looks super similar. I mean, that's a selling point, right, of the TypeScript. It's like same JavaScript but types.
Yeah, but at compile time.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why people won't eventually use it. There are other type systems that can work in JavaScript, but they will face the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there is OCaml, but I don't know how OCaml run. I don't know if it's run directly on JavaScript or if there is a specific like VM or whatever. Mm-hmm. There were CoffeeScript, but same, was running on JavaScript. So in the end, everything runs in JavaScript.
The worth mentioning that the CoffeeScript we just started, right? I actually started programming a CoffeeScript for a while, but then I abandoned because of the new version of the JavaScript has become more trendy.
Yep.
Yeah. And you kind of not catching up with all of this stuff.
Yeah, since 6, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They added many features.
Yeah.
No, there is no reason to not directly use, let's say, JavaScript. But okay, sometimes you just want something. It's really about the maintenance most of the time. Of course, if you want just to do some tests, like, oh, there is something new you want to play, eventually don't use TypeScript for that. If you're building an application with a lot of people, I guess it's a good opportunity to start with.
Not much of the bad stuff, right, for the TypeScript?
It's not free. It's better to have someone in your team that know a bit about it, because you will face really, sometimes really you have some weird issue or it doesn't behave the way you expect it to behave, and then you see that there is an issue that has been open for 4 years and they don't intend to fix it or so, something like this. For instance, something that was really annoying before 3.7 was like the Elvis operator. So you know the safe operator that they just implemented in 3.7, but it's one of the first issues that has been open in TypeScript, and basically they said, oh, we won't do anything before the TC39 decide on the operator to use. So they waited. Mm-hmm. But it was very long. It took 4 years or something like this.
But yeah. But actually, it's if you consider other alternatives, it's they looks okay. But the support from Microsoft is a huge deal, right?
Knowing that there is a dedicated team on this, makes people confident. Okay, this will stay 4 years for the moment.
And there's a famous guy, right, who actually
Anders Eisberg. Yep.
Yeah,
the guys that wrote C++.
Exactly. I think. No, he's worked through Pascal.
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 Okay.
Turbo Pascal. Yeah, through Pascal.
Yep.
Delphi Turbo Pascal. Yeah.
I think they are doing great.
Yeah.
In this.
Great.
Yep. I really